Hey everybody, my name is Steven and welcome back to the Storytime channel. Without wasting any time, let's get into our stories of the day. Send it out when there isn't 4 to 5 deliveries? Sure thing. This just happened tonight. I work at a pizza shop and my managers are freaking awesome. Anyways, we were super busy. Like, we had to give over an hour and a half for deliveries. Most people were okay with this or just canceled their order. Except one lady. She is very much an unpleasant person. I could tell from the way she acted on the phone call. "Thank you for calling place I work. Will this be pickup or delivery?" Instead of answering, she went through her whole order. She had a terribly condescending tone the whole time, and she kept saying how we never got her order right, etc. I finally got through the call and put her order in line. 45 minutes go by and she calls asking where it is. We tell her we are getting her order out as quick as we can, but that we are busy. She huffed and said fine, whatever, then hung up. A half hour goes by and she calls back asking where it is, and we told her it was going out the door. About 10 minutes later, she calls back yet again and was ticked. "I placed my order over 2 hours ago and I was told my order was going out the door 20 minutes ago. I asked my manager what to do and I was told to tell him that he had 4 to 5 deliveries with him when he left. After I told her this, she saw red. "Okay, well here is what you're gonna do. You are gonna remake my food and you are gonna send it out when he doesn't have 4 to 5 deliveries." I knew my manager would be on board, so I said, "You are absolutely right, ma'am. We will send it out when he doesn't have several with him." He found my idea hilarious and so we went through with it. She seemed satisfied and I want to say she fell asleep or something, but after another hour she called back again screaming about how we told her it was being sent out and blah blah blah. I was tired of dealing with her, so I let the manager know who it was. He went over to the phone and the conversation was essentially him telling her she asked that it be delivered when he doesn't have several with him, that she wasn't getting her food anyway, and that she should never order again. Dang, it felt good. If they're telling you that they have delays, that they're super busy, don't be surprised when it takes a lot of time to get there, is all I can really say. No dishes, no problems. So me and my boyfriend moved in together early February. I work at home doing web design and coding while he worked at Walmart. The house we are in has no dishwasher, so we always have to do dishes by hand. During that time, we decided swapping who does dishes worked easiest. Every other sink full was me, then him, and back again. We'd reach a full sink about every 3 days. Despite our agreement, I always cleaned the pots and pans after I cooked dinner, feeling it was rude not to. I also made sure to put up dishes once they dried so he could do his set when we had time. Then he got a new job at a medicine packaging plant. Cool, more money and more time for me to watch my shows he dislikes. I noticed due to the new schedule he had, 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. instead of 12 a.m. to 8 a.m., that he wasn't doing dishes as quickly and would often let it get overfilled on his turn. The first, let's say, 4 times, I would just wash and rinse the stuff we needed and move on. But then he started complaining he always had more dishes to do than me. I reminded him not only do I rinse stuff we used for dinner once done cooking, I'd rinse plates or bowls if we had none left. He told me if there were no dishes, there would be no problem. It still confuses me he said this. He then complained I had no reason not to do dishes more since I work at home. If I am not working, I vacuum, mop, dust, take our dog out, and do laundry. He never does any of this outside of one dog walk before work. Annoyed after him telling me not to make excuses, I asked him what we should do. He said, "I don't know, maybe just clean your own dishes and I clean mine. Use less dishes too." So I complied right there. I picked 1 big plate, 1 small plate, 1 bowl, and 2 cups. I usually have water and a smoothie since I have vitamin deficiency, as well as 2 of each utensil, and proceeded to take them to the basement where my desktop setup is for work. Outside of pots and pans for making whatever else we eat, I use nothing but the dishes I grabbed and make sure to wash what I cook with upstairs and my personal dishes in the basement bathroom sink right after I eat. He, on the other hand, now still has a sink full of dishes which I know I didn't touch or use. I have even had to go find dishes around the house since he sometimes just leaves them in the bedroom or living room. To clarify, I started my compliance about 5 days ago at this point, so I wasn't shocked we had a full sink. This morning, while I was making us omelets, he noticed the now full sink and asked, "Why aren't you taking your turn?" I looked to him innocently and asked, "What are you talking about? You said we should clean our own dishes." He looked annoyed and said, "It's my day off, I shouldn't have to do this." I stared and shrugged as I made us eggs. "Don't make excuses, I do mine just fine." He let out an annoyed sound and went to walk the dog. By the time he got back, I had just plated food. I went to the sink, added soap to the egg pan, and scrubbed it, then set it to dry. I grabbed my food heading to the basement and he said, "Really? You're just gonna leave the rest? You could have done one or two." I simply turned to him and shrugged again, saying, "I did mine, you do yours." As I headed downstairs, I couldn't help but say, "Isn't it great only doing our own dishes?" He has been upstairs almost 20 minutes just doing the full sink. I feel petty, but pray this means he will actually clean after himself and not leave it to me anymore. Oh geez, so if you're with a significant other and they start doing this process where they fill up the sink and then they start trying to get you to do it more than anything, how would you handle this situation in specifics? Let me know what you would do or say in the comments below. If you get a 100 on the final, you can keep your phone. So freshman year of high school, I was in the most hated teacher's math class. And because I was in the gifted program, there was a lot of malicious compliance. But my favorite example is 2 weeks before the midterm final. One of those kids, the kind that doesn't care and always bullies their teachers but never gets in trouble, who also happened to be this teacher's least favorite student, was on his phone instead of working, as per usual. And this teacher was in an especially bad mood today, so she started yelling at this kid, calling him dumb, useless, stupid, etc., where the kid didn't care at all. She got fed up yelling at him, so she said, "You know what? If you get a 100 on the final, you can keep playing on your phone." Finals came around, and not only did the kid get a 100 on the final, but so did 3/4 of our class, meaning we outperformed all of the other classes. The rest of the year consisted of everyone in that class playing on our phones. Sounds to me like that class went very quickly from the most hated class to one of the most enjoyed. Playing on your phone all the time sounds great. Accidental malicious compliance turns into purposeful malicious compliance. I was in grade school, American, in the early 90s when computers were first becoming ubiquitous. A few weeks into the school year, my mom was surprised to see me struggling to type using all 10 fingers instead of just using my index fingers. But I explained how the teacher had asked me to do it that way instead of the easier way. Mom went out that weekend and bought me a CD-ROM program designed to teach me proper placement. After a few hours of sing-song style lessons, I was speeding through all my practice sheets and couldn't wait to go to school the following week to show my teacher what I had learned. Mom was shocked when she got called to the school for a parent-teacher conference where the teacher was livid as she had wanted me to use all 10 fingers in an effort to slow me down. But now I was even faster. Mom apologized for the misunderstanding, but since I had already completed the entire workbook for the year, what could be done? Teacher decided that I would have to spend that class as a helper, going around to other students who were struggling. I wasn't thrilled with this as I had intended to use that extra time to read books or maybe play games on the computer, but was told that I wasn't allowed to do any of that as long as my fellow students needed my help. A plan began to form in my brain. In about a week, Mom had to have another parent-teacher conference as it seemed I had taught several other students to type the way I had learned. And now they too were speeding through the workbook that was meant to last the whole year. I soon found myself sitting out in the library during that class, enjoying my extra time with my beloved books, just like I wanted. See, I'm not sure what kind of class this was because it wasn't explained. I don't know if it was like some kind of typing or computer intro class, but I feel like it would be the kind of thing where they could generate some kind of basic work to do every day. Like in my middle school, when I had a typing class type thing, there'd always be a prompt or something you could work on, even if it gets done blazingly fast. Maybe we should do more than the bare minimum when dealing with multi-million-dollar aircraft. Cast and locations. Me, a lower enlisted E2 member of the United States Navy. Maintenance control, not really my boss, but they tell my boss what needs to be done during our shift. The term maintenance control refers to both the room and the personnel working it, a chief E7 and a petty officer first class E6. This took place about 4 months ago. Context: I am what's known as a plane captain, not an actual captain, just someone who knows a general knowledge of the aircraft, launching and emergency procedures, stuff like that. Our main jobs are to inspect the aircraft and then tell the respective maintainers what needs fixing. We have 3 types of inspections, but for this story we'll be only talking about the least in-depth, called a prep, which is just a look over a few oil levels and security. If you're only doing exclusively what the form tells you to do, it should take no more than 15 to 20 minutes. However, I tend to go a little bit more in depth and go above and beyond, so my preps usually take about 45 minutes. I've caught quite a few problems that wouldn't have been found until the pilot's pre-flight check, and therefore have delayed the flight schedule. Now on to the malicious compliance. I get into work and I'm immediately told to go out and prep 3 aircraft as they have an early flight compared to normal. No biggie, I have plenty of time to do each of them with time to spare. I leave my shop at around 7:30, do my first prep, and I'm walking into maintenance control to turn in the paperwork at about 8:10. At this pace, I'm tracking to finish these preps well before they even brief for flights. Right as I enter maintenance control. Petty Officer First Class of the United States Navy, where the heck have you been? I've been doing the preps. Here's the paperwork for XYZ. It's already 8. When did you get started on this one? About 7:30ish, I think. Well, what the heck took so long? These take like 10 minutes. I took a few extra things, 36-inch rule and all that. No, freak that, just follow the sheet. Petty Officer First Class of the United States Navy, I found a lot of... Just follow the freaking sheet. Now, you don't have to tell me twice to do less work, so I do exactly as the sheet says. I didn't open a single panel I didn't have to. If there wasn't an oil gauge nearby, I didn't look at it. Knocked out the other 2 preps on under half an hour. It's amazing how fast you can do work when you're specifically told not to give a freak. I hopped back into maintenance control around 8:45. I was dealing with Chief this time, who's a much better person in general. Nothing particularly worth mentioning happened as I gave him the paperwork and I went along with my day until the flight schedule. I get called out to plane captain the pre-flight on one of the aircrafts I did, and I don't give a freak, prep on. And I'm willing to bet you guys can tell what's going to happen. Lo and behold, not even 10 minutes into the pre-flight, we find a serious issue with the aircraft. If we started working on it now, the aircraft wouldn't be ready for at least 2 hours. And even then, the aircraft would need a full re-inspection, which would tack on another 2 hours minimum. Shame someone didn't catch it earlier. Unfortunately, I feel like the Navy has kind of this unwritten rule to just follow what you're given and not extend yourself beyond that unless specifically described to. But if they did do that, they would have prevented some headaches, so it's unfortunate that they cut the prep so short. Impatient Parent. I'm helping my mom clean up the house because I have quite literally all the time in the world. Right now, I'm emptying the dishwasher, and my mom is telling me that I need to hurry up. She proceeds to say, if you can't do it in the next 5 minutes, I'm pushing you out of the way. 5 minutes cruises by, me intending on watching the preceding matters unfold. She pushes me out of the way and says that how she is doing it is the proper way. She grabs all the plates and bowls at the same time, glass and porcelain, and tries to put them away. Emphasis on try. She drops every single last piece of china. I then ask her if she wants to show me how to sweep the floor the proper way too. Oh, I bet that final line was a joy to say, but not a joy to see the reaction. But with that being said, that's all the stories we have for today, so what I want to know is which of these stories was your personal favorite and why? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you all so much for watching and listening to the Storytime channel. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. Thank you all again for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.